Bolt fam, the vibe in Los Angeles right now is full-on red alert. Our franchise QB is getting hit way too much. There's backstage smoke about help coming for the offensive line. A dream running back is close to getting out of the training room, and a huge question is hanging over who's really going to carry the rock when the season is on the line. There are tough decisions coming over the next few weeks and a wide open lane for an unlikely hero to emerge. You won't believe what we've got today, so sit back, hit that like button, and let's get straight into it. Bolt fam, if there's one thing keeping everybody up at night, it's watching Justin Herbert take a beating week after week. The offensive line has already gone through more than 20 different combinations in just 11 games, a real laboratory of desperation in front of our QB. And even with all that chaos, he's still putting up elite numbers, completing around 66.5% of his passes, clearing 2,600 passing yards with 19 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That's franchise quarterback production, carrying the team on his back, even while he's getting smacked around almost every time he drops back, with almost no clean pocket to work from. But here comes the dark side of the story. Herbert has already been sacked 35 times, taken more than 90 hits, and faced pressure on close to 200 dropbacks. It's not an exaggeration to say that on every snap, it feels like the Chargers' season is at risk along with his body. In recent weeks, he's limped off with that ankle issue, then had to be checked for a possible concussion and sent to the locker room. Harbaugh joked that he's still a beast, but deep down, every fan knows you don't play around with this kind of situation. Just imagine the chaos if Herbert really does go down and has to miss key games in this final stretch. That's not just a record going out the window. That's an entire organizational plan being put in jeopardy. And the worst part is a lot of this mess was self-inflicted. The bet on Mekhi Becton as a solution turned into a bust. Rashawn Slater and Joe AWT are both done for the year. Trevor Penning arrived at the deadline and looked shaky in his debut. And now the team is basically crossing its fingers that Bobby Hart, picked up off the street, can steady things a bit. On the interior, the failure to truly upgrade the pieces around Bradley Bozeman and Zion Johnson is coming due every single week. So that leaves the question echoing through SOFYESTAYDEEUM and all over social media. How much more can JUSSTINHERBERT really take? Right now, he's not hurt badly enough to be shut down, but he's clearly playing on the edge. And if the front office doesn't treat protecting him as the absolute #1 priority coming out of the bye, the Bolt fam is going to keep watching, snap after snap, a dangerous game of roulette with the future of the franchise. This is where the pressure cranks up on Harbaugh and the decision makers. Motivational speeches aren't enough anymore. They need concrete action, real reinforcements, scheme adjustments, a total commitment to protecting the face of the franchise. Because without a healthy Herbert, there is no Super Bowl plan. What makes this even more fascinating is that while the protection is falling apart, one name is quietly gaining momentum behind the scenes, almost like a whisper between scouts, insiders, and the most plugged-in fans. Brandon Parker, a veteran at 6'8", 320 pounds, loaded with experience, currently sitting on the San Francisco 49ers practice squad, exactly the kind of player a desperate team can steal by offering him an immediate spot on the 53-man roster. And that possibility has set off a massive alarm in Los Angeles because Parker fits almost perfectly into what Harbaugh has been looking for to bring some order to this chaotic offensive line. Parker is not some anonymous rookie just trying to hang on in the league. He was a third-round pick back in the 2018 draft, has appeared in nearly 60 games, and started 33 of them between the Raiders, Falcons, and now the 49ers. Anyone who follows the NFL knows that's not a camp body resume. That's the track record of a tackle who's seen real pressure, faced elite edge rushers, and understands the grind of playing heavy snap counts week after week. That kind of experience is pure gold when your quarterback is being hunted with no mercy. So why does Parker make so much sense for the Chargers? First, because he costs absolutely nothing in draft capital. You don't trade picks, you just sign him off the practice squad onto your active roster. Second, because he's a natural right tackle who can also function as a true swing tackle, covering both sides of the line, which is crucial when you've already lost Slater and Alt and you're watching AUS 10 deck you loose struggle in pass protection. Third, because his frame is ideal for the physical, downhill style Harbaugh wants to build in the run game. And let's be honest, If Trevor Penning arrived and immediately raised concerns with his first impression, going after another piece to compete for snaps becomes a necessity, not a luxury. There's even a narrative forming among fans that's really starting to catch fire. The Chargers finally wake up to the danger around Herbert and steal a veteran lineman from the 14ers to try to save the season. As dramatic as that sounds, it actually captures the urgency of the moment. This team doesn't need another long-term project, doesn't need a developmental swing. It needs someone who can come in, suit up, and stabilize things right now. Meanwhile, the 49ers are using Parker only as depth. The Chargers, on the other hand, are fighting to turn someone else's depth into their own survival plan. And if there's one move that could show the locker room and the fan base that the front office truly understands how serious this situation is, it might be targeting this quiet steal, because the season is still very much alive, but Herbert can't carry it alone forever. There's also a storyline that was kind of hiding underneath all the chaos on the offensive line, but now, during the bye week, it starts to carry a lot more weight. The return of Omar Hampton. The rookie was trending up, earning more touches, flashing burst, balance, and real potential to become that kind of running back who flips games on their head, until that ankle injury in Week 5 derailed everything. Since then, it's been all rehab, lateral work, controlled movement, and no real game action. But that's about to change. Over the last few weeks, Hampton has ditched the walking boot, gotten back on the sideline, started running straight line drills and making light cuts. Then came the update Bolt fam had been waiting for. Harbaugh confirmed that his return window off injured reserve opens right after the bye. He didn't guarantee that Hampton will be ready to go against the Raiders, but he made it clear that the decision comes down to how he progresses over the coming days. And when you listen to Harbaugh's tone, that kind of comment usually means the player is closer than people think. And the importance of this is huge. Before getting hurt, Hampton had already racked up over 200 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and more than 130 receiving yards. That's a truly promising start, showing vision, balance, and a level of maturity you don't always see in a rookie. His absence opened the door for Vidal, another rookie, who stepped into the lead role and answered the call, grinding his way to more than 400 rushing yards and really becoming a spark plug for this offense. Now, though, the entire backfield dynamic is about to change. Hampton's return creates a massive question about how the carries will be split. Vidal absolutely deserves a role. He's earned the locker room's respect, brought energy, and kept the chains moving. But Hampton is the kind of player who brings instant impact. He helps in pass protection, draws extra defensive attention, and gives Herbert an outlet in the passing game out of the backfield. For an offense that's been struggling with pass protection, having a back who can slow down edge rushers, sell play action, and threaten defenses as a receiver isn't a minor detail. It's a key strategic piece. The fan base is split but buzzing. Some people want Hampton thrown right back into a feature role. Others insist that Vidal has to keep a big chunk of the workload. The coaching staff, though, knows one thing for sure. With both of them healthy, the offense becomes much more unpredictable. And in a season where defenses have keyed in on Herbert, that unpredictability might be exactly what this team has been missing to truly find its identity and rhythm before the playoff race intensifies. Honestly, after everything that's happened so far, who doesn't want to see this offense finally click into gear for real? And the moment we talk about Hampton coming back, the next question hits instantly, and it's already heating up debates across Bolt fam. What happens to Vidal? Because let's be real, the original plan for this backfield went up in smoke in a matter of weeks. The idea was simple: NAHG Harris as the veteran workhorse, while Hampton developed at a calmer pace behind him. Then Harris went down, Hampton went down, and suddenly the late-round rookie Vidal got thrown into the fire as the unquestioned RB1. Not only did he survive it, he shined. In 3 of his 6 starts, Vidal topped 95 rushing yards and hit the end zone. That's big-time production, the kind that usually locks in your role, but that thigh injury and the blowout loss to Jacksonville flipped the urgency back on. He left the game, didn't return, and the Chargers had to finish the afternoon handing mop-up carries to Amar Johnson and Travion Williams. That's not exactly the ideal scenario for a team that still believes it can do damage in the AFC. Now, the vibe changes again with the expectation that both Vidal and Hampton will be good to go after the bye. And that's where the real conversation begins. True to form, Harbaugh kept things vague, refusing to lay out exactly how he plans to use the 2 backs. But just hearing him speak with optimism about Hampton's return is enough to suggest that the rookie is headed for a meaningful role. He's more physical, more explosive, and was clearly being groomed to be a centerpiece of this offense before the injury. There are certain plays that just fit his profile better: short yardage power runs, inside zone out of heavy sets, and passing downs where he can chip rushers and leak out as a safety valve for Herbert. At the same time, Vidal has earned something every coach values: trust. He protects the football, reads his blocks with patience, and brings a sense of urgency that the whole offense feeds off of. A straight-up benching, that's not happening. The most realistic scenario, at least early on, is a smart committee approach. Hampton taking on critical snaps and high-leverage situations, Vidal keeping a steady volume of touches, and the staff trying to keep both fresh so they don't relive the nightmare of running out of healthy backs late in the year. The truth is, this offense only stands to benefit from having both of them rolling. Two young, hungry running backs with complementary skill sets is exactly the kind of backfield Harbaugh loves to experiment with to keep defenses guessing. Every snap becomes a subtle competition. Every series becomes a chance for one of them to grab the spotlight. And that internal battle for touches could be the fuel that finally turns this ground game into a real weapon down the stretch, instead of just a supporting act for Herbert's arm. Bolt fam, after everything we just broke down, it's clear the Chargers are living a season of extremes. Herbert is fighting like crazy behind a patched-together line. Parker looms as a possible lifeline for that group. Hampton is on the verge of coming back to jumpstart the offense, and Vidal is battling to prove he deserves every single snap he's earned. These storylines are all connected, turning up the heat inside the locker room and shaping the team's immediate future. So here's the question that really matters now. Which one of these pieces is truly going to change the Chargers' destiny in this final stretch? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay locked in because this journey still has plenty of twists coming.